Free verse poetry is a type of poetry where there are no rules. It's up to you. You're the boss. So, as the poet, you decide what the poem will be about, you decide how the poem will look like, and you decide how to write it. But sometimes when there are no rules, it can be a little bit confusing on how to get started. Here are some tips for you. If you are not sure of where to get an idea from, if you're not sure what to write about, I have 3 strategies for you to try. These are what things that poets do. The first strategy is that poets try to see ordinary things in new ways. They look at the world around them and they take these ordinary things and they try to turn them into characters, or they personify them, or they make them into something else. For example, this pencil, ordinary thing, not a pencil. It's actually a mighty sword ready to defeat the evils of homework. This hat, ordinary thing. No, let's look at it at a new way. It's not a hat, it's a warm hug on my head. So take a look around you. See if any ideas pop out at you. Take an ordinary thing and turn it into something that is completely new. Use your imagination, be creative. Another strategy that poets will try to use when they're stuck on an idea, is that they think about big feelings or really special moments. So think about big feelings that you've had before, or very special moments that have happened to you. You can take that and turn it into a poem. Maybe you can write a poem about fear, or write a poem about love. Maybe think about special moments that have happened to you. Maybe the first time that you got a dog. That was a special moment. Write a poem about that. Or maybe your birthday party from last year. Maybe you want to write about that. So poets will take a look at big feelings they felt and special moments that have happened to them in order to get ideas. One last strategy is they might get inspiration from other poets, especially beginner poets. They might look at other poems that people have written and just try that structure out for themselves. Maybe someone else wrote a poem about a pencil defeating homework. Maybe you kind of want to take that idea and write a sequel to it. Or maybe you like the idea of their structure. Maybe they wrote a list of all the things that they love for their poem about love. You can try the same thing. Maybe you write a list of all the things you love and turn that into a poem about a big feeling about love. So those 3 strategies. They see ordinary things in new ways. Poets write about big feelings and special moments. And they, of course, are inspired by other poets. So those are some tips you can try if you're stuck on where to get ideas. Next, let's talk about actually writing. If you're stuck on the actual writing part, what words to use, these are some things that poets try to do. The first thing poets try to do is to experiment with line breaks. They like to look and see where they can chop up that sentence and start a new line. Maybe they'll make this line really long. Maybe they'll make the next 3 lines really short. And that affects how someone might read the poem. So they actually do this on purpose. They don't just chop them up at random places. Poets will chop up their sentences and put line breaks in depending on how they want the reader to read it. If you have a bunch of short lines, you read it like this. So you want the reader to read the poem like this. But if you have long flowing sentences, maybe this is how you want the person to read your poem. So think about how you want to read the poem. Try reading out loud yourself. Does it flow the way you want it to flow? Strategy number 2 for writing. Use artistic language. We learned a little bit about similes and metaphors and personification, alliteration, hyperboles. You can use those strategies to sound more artistic, to sound more imaginative in your writing. Poets do this all the time. Like I said, this isn't a pencil, it's a sword. You're personifying it. Maybe it's going off to fight the evils of your math homework, your math practice page. Make it exciting, make it fun. And finally, poets will also play with words to create a mood. If you use lots of large, longer words strung together, they'll flow together and you might have to read them more slowly. Maybe that's the calm mood you want to give your reader. But if you use lots of short, tiny words, it gives you a more, how do I describe it? It gives you a mood that maybe it can sense fear or maybe excitement. So really think about what words you might choose, what descriptions you might use to create a mood for your reader. How do you want the reader to feel when they read your poems? All right, so these are some tips to use when writing poems, and we're going to use them to write some poems for ourselves. All right, let's try it out. So I'm going to put these over here so that I can look at them if I forget. All right, okay, so let's first think of a topic. So, idea tip. Well, I like the idea of my hat. I'm still wearing it now. It's nice and warm. I like the idea of it being a hug for my head. So maybe a poem about winter. All right, and let's see. So I might call it Winter. Okay, so what are some things that I could talk about winter? Well, I can start by just describing what winter is like. Icicles hanging. What are other things I might imagine when I think about winter? I know. Icicles hanging, snowflakes, fall drifting. I kind of like the sound of drifting more. When I read my poem out loud, I like the way the drifting sounds. And you can try that. Read your poem out loud as you write so you know what it sounds like. Icicles hanging, snowflakes drifting. Oh, I kind of hear a pattern. Maybe another something and then an ing word, winter. Icicles hanging, snowflakes drifting, wind. Wind, what does the wind do? Wind blow, wind howling, that's a more powerful word. Icicles hanging, snowflakes drifting, wind howling, and then maybe I can connect it to my head. How do I feel here? I can maybe change up the pattern a little bit. It's free verse, right? I'm the boss, let's change it up. I'm gonna talk about how I feel here. Icicles hanging, snowflakes drifting, wind blowing. Let's see. Body shivering. I slip on my toque. That's my hat here. A warm hug on my head. Whoops, spelled that wrong. There. Okay, let's read my free verse winter poem. Winter. Icicles hanging, snowflakes drifting, wind howling, body shivering. I slip on my toque. A warm hug on my head. There we go. I described a little bit of winter. I told the reader what I would do, and there's my free verse poem. It doesn't follow any special rules or patterns. I kind of just wrote about what I imagined when I thought out there. Okay, let's do one more together. What other topic could I write about? How about maybe like an animal? Or maybe, I kind of like the idea of, let's see, big feelings or special moments. Excuse me. How about big feelings? How about I write about the first time that I was able to ride a bike. I remember that we had a ramp in my backyard, and my dad would put his hand like on behind me on the bike, and he would keep it steady while I practiced. And then the first time I went down the ramp, it was amazing. The wind was whooshing in my face. I was so excited. And I remember yelling at my dad, watch me. And it was such a really, really a nice memory. So I think maybe I'll try that. Okay, let's see. So, let's start off with a sound. Whoosh. And then I might say, my hair, what does my hair do in the wind? My hair, I'm trying to imagine in my head. My hair flies. I can experiment with line breaks. I might go back, back, back. Whoosh, my hair flies back, back, back as I go, I'm going down a ramp. Let's play around with what a poem looks like. As I go down, down, down the ramp. Ooh, can you see that still? Hopefully, yeah, you can. Look at how I played with line breaks. Whoosh, my hair flies back, back, back as I go down, down, down the ramp. Let's finish the poem here. I did it. My first time down the bike ramp. Let's read it and see if I like how it sounds. Whoosh! My hair flies back, back, back as I go down, down, down the ramp. I did it! My first time down the bike ramp. I like it, but I don't like how I say ramp and ramp at the same time. I might change this here. But my first time down the bike ramp, my first time. Is there another word for ramp? I don't know if I can think of one. My first time down the bike ramp. My first time down the bike. You know what? I can't think of one, so I think I might just leave it. Maybe I'll come back to it. All right? So, we played with line breaks here. We used a special moment to help me to inspire my idea for this poem, and I read it out loud to see what it sounded like. I think I like it. All right? So we wrote 2 poems today. See if you can write your own. I'll be here to help you if you do.